And a very good Sunday morning to you, my dear friends around the world. Thank you so much for joining us for today's edition of Sundays with George Grant. Man, just came back inside. Took a look outside there. It is a gorgeous morning here on the Spice Isle, and the sea is just absolutely flat, like glass, crystal. Try and get down to the beach this afternoon, and you'll find out in just a wee bit why I'm trying to encourage you to get on down to the beach this afternoon. I see that on the box there already, Anthea. Well, she is in and out. She's not going to be around this morning. She says she has a mission to run. 007. And Kipling Francis is also there, and I think Jabon is also there as well. And We Will Rise. We Will Rise has been rising early these days. Have you noticed that? And we're so delighted. Thank you so much, my dear friend. So far, so good. Take a look. The green light's there, so everything's hunky-dory on the internet. And let's keep our little pinkies crossed that things are going to continue going well throughout the course of the morning. Now, having said all of that stuff, let me extend a welcome to those of you on Grenada Broadcast who are joining us for today's program, and those of you on Facebook, and a little later on this afternoon, we're also going to be up on YouTube. At the moment, we're not broadcasting live on YouTube. What we do is, like right now, we are pre-recording the program, and after it's through, we'll go click, 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 clickety clack, and there you go, up on YouTube this afternoon. So you can go out back and take a look at it at your leisure. Okay? Now, we're also on TuneIn, Radio Genre, and Radio Garden. Those are all platforms carrying us this morning as well. Now, let's get into the rundown, and it's going to be a busy morning, so let's see what we got cooking here. As always, we begin with the buzz, and we do have a reading from the Holy Scriptures for you. We ain't going nowhere without that. And in the feedback section, it's really not feedback, but I really want to share something interesting with you this morning. As you probably noticed from the website, no interviews this morning, no interviews. What I'm going to do is share with you how Georgie Porgy spent his Saturday afternoon yesterday. I'm so proud of myself getting out of the studio and getting down to a beach environment. Not just the beach, did some other running around as well. So, we're going to have that for you. But before we get to that, we do have this morning 3 editorials, and they are from the Grenada Advocate, which, by the way, is captioned "Mosquitoes, the Dreaded Pests." It's one thing that drives me crazy, man. Mosquitoes. The bite, the bite is bad enough. But what annoys me even more is that God, that drives me gaga. At night, and geez, most of my life, I have been sleeping with a fan at the side of my bed, near to my head. You cover the legs, okay? But to keep that annoying buzz away from you, there's a fan right on my face. And there are people who say, how can you have a fan going all night? I have a fan going all night, and it hasn't done any harm to me. So yes, I want to hear what the Advocate has to say about mosquitoes this morning, which they are describing here as the dreaded pests. Then comes the editorial from the Grenadian Voice, which is captioned, "Respect the mentally ill." I mean, before going any further, it's absolutely good advice. Absolutely good advice. And So, there's a note here on from Louise Grant. Hello, Louise. I can't believe it. I'm actually seeing Louise on Facebook this morning. She said the volume is very low. How about now, Louise? Bo, 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 bo. Huh? Good to have you, young lady. Thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying retirement. So yes, the Grenadian voice is captioned, respect the mentally ill. And I hope that you'll listen carefully to that and pay attention to what it is saying. The new today, the new today is calling on the government of Grenada to bring in Scotland Yard. Things are heating up in this place, huh? Yeah, they are referring to that investigation into the wrongdoing, alleged wrongdoing down at the Marketing and National Importing Board. We're going to share that with you in just a wee bit. I see that Chester has also just joined us out of Switzerland. Chester, I hope you're hearing us loud and clear, my dear friend. And if you have extra volume, would you send a little bit to Louise, please? How about now, Louise? Okay. Then, we have a caption here called Off the Beaten Path. As I mentioned to you this morning, I'm going to take a few minutes here to share some words, and not only that, folks, we're also going to share some video with you about some stuff I did yesterday afternoon. We'll get to that in just a wee bit. So that's going to replace our interview section today, if you will, okay? Hope you don't mind. Our main feature today. Interesting stuff, interesting stuff, interesting stuff, interesting stuff. We are going to have somebody on the phone. He was with us actually recently, just a few weeks ago. Black Wizard. His real name, Elwin McQuilkin. Well, he has recently released a calypso which touts the CCJ. And so the caption here, and he's going to be joined, by the way, by a young lady who was very, very vocal in the run-up to the last referendum, a lady by the name of Claudette Joseph. Claudette is an attorney. And so the caption here is, Black Wizard backs the CCJ, but Claudette Joseph isn't too sure. So I'm going to allow these two folks. Wizard is going to be on the phone with me. He's not able to make it in this morning. And Claudette, I do expect, she did promise that she'd be in. I'm hoping she's going to be here this morning. She is going to be sitting here in the studio with me, okay? They should be on at about 10:30 this morning. And it's a full morning, as you can see. So I'll tell you what. Let us now take our first little break, and then we shall come on back and get started with this week's edition of The Buzz.
So babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply departments and the Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Grenada Market has now introduced the prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
GRENDEC Community Partnership Initiative.
What we have seen with the quality of the debate, the intellect, the effort that has gone into this is a credit, first of all, to the debaters themselves. But it's also a credit to the teachers, to our schools, to our parents who would have worked with those students to get them to where they are today. Us who sit in Parliament should be inspired by what we have seen today, and I think we can learn something from what has been presented here today.
GRENDEC, energizing our community.
Okie doke, folks. That's our first little break here this morning. And just before I get into this week's edition of The Buzz, wanted to say hi to some folks out there on Facebook this morning. First of all, I see that Louise is there. She said that the volume is low. Well, we've now heard from who's that? We've heard from Ryan saying that the audio is now a lot better, so he's there as well. Kathleen Thomas is saying good morning from a sunny but cold Toronto. Kathleen, let me say a couple of things to you. First of all, yes, I know it's starting to get cold, but please get it into your mind that this is only the beginning. You've got about 6 months of it ahead of you. By the way, autumn happens to be, yes, sometimes a little bit chilly, but I find it still the most comfortable time of the year in the Toronto area, and I really miss all those colors. Only last night somebody sent me some really beautiful pictures of the changing leaves. I mean, nothing in the world could replace that beauty. The other thing is, if you find it's too cold, girl, as far as I know, there are a lot of empty seats coming down our way. Hop on an airplane, come on down, and when you do, be sure to say hi, okay? So Kathleen has checked in on Facebook. Lydia James saying she's locked on from Toronto. Lydia, nice of you to join us from Toronto. Say hi to everybody in Toronto, every Grenadian you happen to know up there. June Chateau. I'm not sure where June is, but June is also chiming in on Facebook this morning. So who else is there? Oh, Chester. Hello, Uncle. Yeah, Uncle Chester's there as well. Now, that's it on Facebook. Let me run over here to Rumble Chat, which is the shout box on the GrenadaBroadcast.com website. First of all, Anthea said, good morning, George and all. Just saying hi and bye. On a mission this morning. We will catch up later. Okay, so she's going to listen to the rebroadcast later on. Everybody just wave at her. Wave at her. Anthea has, she's already left the box, by the way. Kipling, Francis is saying, go as morning. I guess he means good morning, Mr. Grant and Chester and the class. God's blessings to all. Now the innocent until proven guilty, is out the door, and accusation with corroboration is considered to be credible, with opinion commonly accepted as facts. This is Kipling speaking here. He ends by saying, the question is, what next lies ahead in this game of power struggle called politics? Okay, Kipling, thank you very much for chiming in. Jabon out there in Orlando says, good morning, George and class. Looking forward to today's program, working out how we donate on this nice new site, nice new platform. Well, I'll tell you what, first of all, Jabon, thank you very much for the compliment. And I'd like to pass that on to good buddy there, Keeve Roberts. This guy has worked really, really hard over the last few weeks. And so far, I'm sure there's got to be somebody out there who doesn't like it, but he put this thing together in like 24, 36 hours, and I have heard nothing but positive responses to the new look Grenada broadcast. Thank you so much for the encouragement. Do appreciate it. Jabon is saying here he's still working out how we donate on this site. Well, Jabon, actually, at the top, right at the top of the page, there is, you see our logo, Grenada Broadcast, and there's also a button with white text in a purple background, and it says donate. So that's where you can go to donate. And I guess why Jabon is mentioning that is because, good excuse, good opportunity to go at it here again. Some of you who were with us last week, not the ones on Grenada Broadcast, the ones on, first of all, a lot of you could not get on the Grenada Broadcast last week. The site was down, fini, kaput, over and out, okay? But a lot of you were listening on our other platforms, like I mentioned this morning. And last week I did something that I have never done in the 14 years almost 14 years, end of January is going to be 14 years that we've been doing this program. I actually almost got on bended knees and asked you people for help. The reason why I did that, so far this morning, the stream seems to be going el perfecto, just beautifully, okay? But I think that you all know that we have had a series of problems with our stream, okay? We have had a lot of problems. People complain about buffering. It's there, it's not, it's there, it's not, in and out, in and out. And not only has it been driving you crazy, it has been driving me gaga. I mean, really, really gaga, okay? And I have been told by my ISP that that's because I'm still using broadband when I should be using fiber. Okay, now, folks, broadband is a lot less expensive than fiber. Fiber is costly. And I was sent a proposal by one of our ISPs saying that to get the fiber that I need, it's going to cost something like $1,200 EC dollars a month. Pilgrims, Georgie don't have that. Okay? This program's been going for a long time, but it ain't no big money maker. Okay? And so, to avoid some of the annoyance that you have had to put up with, I have actually been asking that you donate on the donate page, which Jabon mentioned a little while ago, up on the website there. I'm not asking any one individual to come up with $1,200 a month. But There's so many of you who listen to this program, and so many of you who have, over the years, listened. Thousands and thousands of people. On Sunday mornings, you usually hear me pick a few of them and mention the names of some of the places where people are listening to us, you know? Okay? If a few of you came up with a little bit on that page, believe me, it would be a great help. And so I'm asking you again this morning. Thanks for the tip-off, Jabbar. I'm asking you again this morning, please, go to the donate page at the top of my homepage, Grenada Broadcast. Chip in. You'll be helping yourself. You'll be helping me, obviously. You'll be helping the many others who, like you, assemble here every Sunday morning. Okay? But I'll tell you, the one that matters most to me is that you'll be helping this country by helping to keep democracy alive. When you read the text on the home page, you'll see what I'm talking about. Go take a look. If even you're not going to put your 2 pence in, go take a look. Okay? We're in for some very interesting times ahead, and it is imperative that we keep a free press going in this country. Okay? Would appreciate any help that you may be able to offer. Okay. So, let me see. Back here now to back here now to Facebook. Oh boy, you guys are crowding on there this morning. So yeah, we got as far as June. Yvonne Joseph, I'm not sure where she is, but Yvonne is saying, good morning, Mr. Grant. Yvonne, my name is George. How about just, good morning, George. Be happy. I'd be very happy. Mr. Grant. Shabba Regis, or Regis. He says, audio sounding very good in London. Shabba is in London. Say hello to Lizzie for me, my friend. Tell her that we're trying to break the chains of colonialism here. I wonder what she has to say about that, boy. Huh? Ryan again is saying, ouch, escape freezing in Toronto and jet the hot Grenada, yeah. June Chateau is saying that she's in Grenada. And Yvonne Joseph is saying morning from a cold Oshawa. Oshawa, for those of you who may not be familiar, a nice little town just east of Toronto. It's Oshawa, Ajax, Scarborough, all of them. And then Ryan is saying, Shabbat, GG is very effervescent this morning. Yeah, man, I'm feeling on top of the world. I really am feeling on top of the world this morning. And I know that not everybody is, but I do hope that you'll make an effort. I'm learning with each year. I just turned 67, and every year, every day, pilgrims, I'm learning something new. A lot of people think they already know it all. I'm learning something new every day. And one of the things I learned that's most important to me, life is a state of mind. State of mind. Doesn't mean you're not going to have issues along the way, but issues do not mean the end of life. Okay? Just remember that. And if you put your trust in God, like I do, I ain't got nothing else going for me but God. Nothing. Okay? So, that's why I can sit here this morning and be so effervescent like Mr. Ryan out there says. Ernesto Jose says, good morning, Joyce. Your voice is echoing on TuneIn. Ah. Well, am I echoing on anybody else's platform? It'd be nice to know. Let's see here. Anthony the Riggs. Anthony, I'm seeing a lot of your postings on Facebook these days, and I can't help but wonder whether or not you're in Grenada. You seem to be showing a lot of beautiful scenes of Grenada. If you are in town, Anthony, please give me a call, send me a messenger or whatever. He says here, good morning, George. Oh, he says here, saying hi from Brooklyn. I share the program and I urge others to do so because it is very informative and many people should hear the important and relevant issues you discuss. God bless you. Thank you very much, Anthony. You're a great help and I do appreciate it, but it's time that we talked again. Need to talk. We need to talk, fella. We need to talk. Then Beverly Mitchell is saying good morning. Ashton Fletcher is saying good morning, Mr. Grant. Greetings to you and my Spice Island friends and family from Louisville, Kentucky. Hello there, Louisville. Nice to see you guys. Ernesto Jose again says, George, can you fix the echoing sounds on your voice? Very bad on TuneIn. Well, I'm not hearing any echoes here. I'm not seeing any echoes show up on my scope. If anybody else is having echoes, please let me know. Okay? John Grant, QC. John, Mr. QC. Boy, we need some QC. Are you going to talk with me about the CCJ, Mr. QC? John is saying good morning from Tyler, Texas. Hello, Tyler, Texas. Sonia Nixon is saying good morning from wherever. Doesn't matter. You're here, and that's what matters. Velma Hutchinson Daniels there. She's watching. Mickey Man Alexander. Mickey Man, I hope. I keep hoping that I'm pronouncing your name properly. Mickey Man Alexander is saying good morning. I am watching and listening. No. He's saying just good morning. Then Lawrence, hope I can pronounce this guy's, let's see here. Okay, let's see here. Hold on a minute. Oh, now my Facebook is frozen. Uh-oh, Facebook is frozen. Let's do a recycle here and see if we can get back onto Facebook. Hang in there, pilgrims. Technology at work again. Okay, so we did Sonia Nixon. We did Velma Hutchinson Daniel. Mickey Man Alexander. Lawrence. Please, if I mispronounce it, please bear with me. I'm trying, okay? Kruythof. Kruthoff, I'm hoping that's the right pronunciation. Lawrence Kruthoff is saying good morning, George. I'm watching and listening. Thank you so much, sir. Robert Stonebanks on Google to it's echoing. Well, I hope that echo is gone now. And June Chateau says no. I'm not sure what that was. Obviously something I said a little while ago. But anyhow, Lydia James, you're loud and clear on Facebook. Well, we're thankful that we're loud and clear on Facebook. Glenn Andrew Mark is saying good morning from Michigan. Thanks for bringing the issues live. Glenn, we're trying and round up some Grenadians in your neighborhood who may be willing to help us do even more. There's so much more to be done. We're working on it, but we really honestly do need your help. I mean, can you imagine? 14 years I've been doing this. I haven't really asked you guys for anything. 14 years. But I do hope that you'll rally to the cause, please. Okay, so that's it for Glenn Andrew Mark. Margaret Francis says, yes, there's an echo from the Grenada Broadcast live stream. Oh, Margaret. And she says Facebook is fine. I'm not sure what happened there. But anyhow, guys, keep monitoring it. We're going to keep flicking a little doohickeys here, and hopefully we'll flick the right one. Tessa Barry says, yes, George, you are echoing on TuneIn. For me also, I switched to Facebook. or you better switch to Facebook like Tessa did. No. Facebook is good. Let's hope it stays that way. Chester says. Betty Chateau Johnson is saying good morning. Catherine Edwards, you're echoing on Grenada Broadcast as well. Morning, sis, says June Chateau. Folks, check again. I'm turning something down here a little bit. Let's check again and see if the audio does get any better. Okay? Now, so, I forgot where the heck we were. Can you imagine? It's now 9:31, 29 minutes away from 10 o'clock. I'll tell you, we were about to enter the buzz. Let's get to the buzz. And we'll begin with an opening scripture. Therefore, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I'm weak, then I am strong. If that passage meant anything to you, I invite you, make a little note. You go a little later on and read this for yourself. It's the second book of Corinthians, chapter 12, verses 7 to 10. Okay? Now. Back to Facebook here. Lawrence Kruthoff says, well said, George, or Forrester will do. Forrester Kruthoff? I'm puzzled. I am puzzled. Is that somebody, Mr. Forrester, masquerading as Kruthoff, or Kruthoff masquerading as Forrester? Doesn't really matter. We're just happy that you're with us this morning. Okay? So he said I pronounced it properly, Kruthoff. And then Fitzroy James says, Fitzroy Adams says, good morning, George, watching from New York. Oh, good to have you, sir. Folks, now, I mentioned to you that I had a wonderful afternoon yesterday, and let me share that with you. I have a good friend, a young lady by the name of Kellyanne Waldron. Kellyanne is working with a hotel development project, promoting that project. We've been friends for a number of years. And she has a little son, Dante. Well, yesterday, after every once in a while we get together. I haven't seen her now for a few months. But yesterday afternoon we got together. Instead of sitting around here and cooking up a storm, which we have done on occasion, we decided that at least I decided. I said, let's go out, check out hot spot, something nice to eat. And I left it up to her to select a venue. And she decided to take me to a little spot down on BBC. Now, I'm somebody who has been into the BBC beach thousands of times, literally. But it's been quite a while now since last I've been down there, and I didn't know that this new place had opened up. It's called La Plywood. La Plywood. La Plywood. L-A space P-L-Y Ply W-O-O-D. Okay? It's a little bar and restaurant right there on the beach. I'm always a little bit apprehensive when I go to a new venue because, you know, some of the places, great advertising, great promotion. Boy, you put that knife and fork in that food, ooh, what a disaster. Okay. Well, that was not the case when we went by there yesterday. As we got there, she said to me, do you like tacos? Love tacos. And I explained to her, you know, one of the things I really miss about living in Toronto is that population of about 3,000 people when I left there umpteen years ago. And I can't tell you, they have got scores and scores and scores of Mexican restaurants. And they have made a fortune off of me, by the way. I'm just a Mexican food fanatic. So I said, yeah, I like tacos. She said, fish tacos? Sure. And I said that sure, again, with a little apprehension. Because I love fish. I love fish. As long as I don't have to deal with skin and bone. Bones just drive me crazy. And as far as the skin is concerned, the skin too fresh, too fishy, if you will. So I like filleted fish, if you will. Okay. So she called the waitress over, and I asked her, "Is your fish boneless and skinless in the tacos?" And she said to me, "Yeah, sure." I said, "Bring it on, girl. Bring it on." So, in just a wee bit, I'm going to show you the tacos, at least one of the tacos I had yesterday afternoon. You know, George went, not ashamed to say it, I was hungry. I didn't even have breakfast yesterday, so I had 2 tacos. First of all, let's take a look at the restaurant. Okay? You see how simple that is? Really, really simple. And I like that. On the left-hand side, you can see wood, which is part of the name of the place. There you go. La Plywood. Okay? Beautiful little setting. I mean, it looks like something that they built themselves. It is just really, really gorgeous. And I think that added to the ambience. There's the bar. And, you know, on the patio, they have a little restaurant. And, well, you can see its proximity to the beach. Look at that. That's BBC Beach. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So that's the plywood. Now, next, I want you to take a look. And by the way, I published this. I took out my smartphone, and it's one of the few postings I have done on Facebook mobile. Usually I do the stuff right here in studio, but I just couldn't wait to share with you the taco. Here, take a look. Yeah. Like my friend Ryan, you notice Ryan always posts a lot of food on Facebook. By the way, speaking about Ryan, there he is on Facebook saying, La Ply Bar Eatery, right there on BBC Beach. Yes, it's right there on BBC Beach. You just saw it, Ryan. And take a look at that taco. Yeah. Georgie Porgy had 2 of those little buggers yesterday. And in addition to that, I'll tell you what, you know, I knew that even though I was having the 2 tacos, I knew that because I was literally starved yesterday would not be enough. would not be enough, okay? So I looked on the menu and I saw, I don't remember how it was described, but it was a burger with bacon. And then Kellyanne explained to me that, it's not unusual to have a burger with bacon on it, right? But usually you have the ground beef pate and you place a couple of slices of bacon on top of it. In this case, the bacon was blended with the burger. I'm no chef. Don't ask me how they did it or what they did, but the two were blended. So I said to the waitress, "Could I have one of those, please?" Yeah. So in addition to my 2 tacos, I also had a burger. And let me tell you, folks, that was just simply great, great, great stuff. I enjoyed it immensely. So, 2 tacos, a burger, and a soft drink. All right. What else do I want to show you? Okay, I also want to show you a little bit more of the environment of that place. Hold on a sec here. We're going to pull this up. Take a look at this. This is I actually posted this on Facebook yesterday, and this was done right there down at the BBC. Ain't that a beautiful beach still? I guess it's just a matter of time before we see hotels showing up there too. There's one on the beach as far as I know, and so far so good.
Mommy.
But I just hope that they don't ruin that beach too. It really is an incredibly beautiful beach. By the way, I've noticed that right on cue, man, Facebook is starting to stutter. Okay. Okie doke. So we're gonna move right along as if nothing ever happened. Yeah. Okay, Ryan is teasing me here about my big appetite, and he's saying that fish fillets are good. Huh? Yeah, I love that stuff. Even yeah, let's just leave it at fish. Okay, now, after we were through with lunch down at LaPlaya Wood, we moved over to Quarantine Point. And here is some footage we shot at Quarantine Point. Now, in just a wee bit, you'll find out why we are showing you that footage. I used my cell phone to walk through the park there a little bit. And I want to salute the Rotary Club of Grenada. They have done such a magnificent job. I mean, come on, years gone by, Quarantine Park didn't look like that. Take a look. Huh? They have done a magnificent job. In fact, that's just one of many, many community projects that they have worked on over the years. And I'm sure that the Grenadian people really do appreciate it. I can tell you, I for one, actually, since they did this work, I have hardly been down to Quarantine Point, okay? Because I do not have an automobile, and me ain't taking bus to go down to Quarantine Point, okay? Now, I remember before this work was done, I used to drive out to Quarantine, sometimes like 8 o'clock in the evening, or sometimes a little earlier on to watch the sunset, and then fall asleep and wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, can you believe that? My mother used to think I was crazy, but I did it. I was safe and sound. It's a beautiful location. And for the past few years, the Rotary has been putting on an event there called Carols by Candlelight. And they're getting ready to do another edition of that. And Kellyanne, as I mentioned earlier on, has been doing quite a bit of work over the years with the Rotary, and they called on her once again this year. And I'm sure she's going to do just a magnificent job at this year's event. So I asked her yesterday, take a few minutes and just explain to us, you, the folks viewing this morning, what's going to be taking place down there for this year's edition of Candlelight.
In 6 weeks' time, the beautiful Quarantine Point is going to be transformed into a magical Christmas wonderland. This is where the Rotary Club of Grenada will be hosting its 10th annual Carols by Candlelight family event. So patrons can look out for this event as usual. You can expect another fantastic and fabulously produced event. We're looking at the event starting from 4 p.m. on December 2nd, going up until 10 p.m. in the evening. It will first start with a Christmas movie that the family can enjoy. Following that, you will have an expertly produced concert by Ricardo Keynes Douglas. For those of you who have been to events before, you know that you can expect a lot of wonderful things here, things for the entire family. You're looking at attractions for the kids, so there's Santa with giveaways for the children. There's a huge bonfire where families can roast s'mores. You would also have lots of food vendors, and this year there'll be even more food vendors and a lot more delicacies from lots of local restaurants in Grenada for you to choose from. And most importantly, and I think what persons are most looking forward to, is the spectacular concert. And of course, the show is going to end with a fantastic firework display. This year it's going to be even bigger, it's going to be even grander. Admission for Carols by Candlelight is $30 for adults and $10 for children. That's children under 10 years of age. Parking, there'll be paid parking for the premises, but there's only limited parking. So if you need paid parking, I believe it's $25, and you need to get those passes very early. But other than that, there's parking along the Montrouge, and there's a park and ride system which works fantastically. You park your vehicles and then you can ride the bus to come on in. It's quick, it's fast. Believe me, it's faster than trying to drive into Quarantine Point.
So there goes Kellyanne, okay? And she is right. She said to me, you got to make it down this year. Would you believe I have not gone to a Carol by Candlelight affair? But I remember a few years ago, the lady who used to decorate the Sugar Mill Roundabout, she donated her lights to the Rotary. And they turned Quarantine Point into a bit of a Christmas village, if you will. And man, oh man, that was so spectacular. I was hoping that they would have done it the following year, but they never did. I did speak with Richard Strawn of the Rotary Club right after that event, and he said to me that they would be doing it again. And yesterday I asked Kellyanne whether or not they're going to do it this year, and she said she thought that they would. So, oh man, if they do, don't you miss it. It's just a sea of lights. It's a world of lights. Check it out, okay? So, on the Facebook, June Chateau says, looking good, must try. She's referring to the tacos a few minutes ago. And Agatha Jordan, I think Agatha is out in Kayaku. Agatha Jordan says, George, there's no need to rub it in. You're making me feel hungry. Darn good, Agatha. I'm glad you're feeling hungry. Check it out. And you guys have some nice eateries up there too in Garriku, eh? Chester Simon says, George, a fish without a head. Chester says, a fish without a head is not a fish. You know, Chester, that was my mother's favorite part of the fish. And my mom and my dad, they love sucking the daylights out of fish heads. And I have to tell you, not for me. Oh, yes. Ryan says BBC Beach, Baton Rouge, seawater is always calm. Louise Grant says, I appreciate this area and the work of who again? It's the Rotary Club, Louise. It's the Rotary Club. They've done that magnificent job down there. And by the way, Floyd Nichols is saying Andy. I'm not sure what Floyd is referring to. But anyhow, and by the way, that's on Facebook. Then let's glance back here at Rumble Chat for just a minute. We Will Rise, hello, We Will Rise is saying, good morning, George, and all. A wonderful day when we wake up and find life still colors our world. Ain't that the truth, buddy? Yeah. So much to be thankful for, despite everything. Okay, and then we scroll down a little bit. Dennis and Christine are checking in from Wanstead. They say that's not Wanstead, they're in Carriacou. Dennis, we're all awaiting our invitations to the great dinner that you didn't even know that you had promised us. Dennis is saying here, lovely morning in Carriacou. We Will Rise says, congrats on the new website look. Change is constant. We Will Rise. Glad you like it. Glad you like it. I do too. You know, I was pretty happy when the last website, we now had 3 websites. When the last one came online, I was pretty ecstatic about that. But now that I see what has happened with this one, I'm even more ecstatic. Okay, so let's continue scrolling down. Somebody who calls calls himself or herself Good Morning Grenada says, good morning, Grenada. Jackie says, good morning, George. Good morning, all. Liking the new look. Hey, Jackie. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. And thank you for helping us to select the logo at the top. We sent out, I think, 6 samples of logos. I don't think Jackie chose the one we did, but the majority of the people did choose the one we did. Tessa, hello, Tessa. I'm not sure where she is, Trinidad or Grenada, but she's saying good morning to all. Jaban here is saying, Gigi, is that $1,200 EC fiber optic? Yaman. $1,200. Oh, Frank L. Marshall was saying earlier on that there was a loud and irritating feedback. And you got me, Zola. You got me. Yeah, we have a friend who's been with us for a number of years. And I think this person is in Amsterdam. We all know her, and I've come to know her as Zola on the Shoutbox. Well, she threw a loop at me this morning, and it says here, good morning, Grenada. That would be Zola. Thank you, Zola. You got me, but good. Thank you. Okay. I could see the big smirk on your face, by the way. Thanks a lot, my friend. Now, so we talked about the plywood. We talked about the rotary. But that was not the end of my Saturday afternoon. Tell you what else we did. We decided, at least I decided, take a look at Grenadian's Beach. You've heard all the time. I'm not getting into this whole Silver Sands issue right now. But I just want you to know that we did stop by yesterday because in light of all the talk, the admission that certain regulations had been violated, and the alleged promise that the walls would be taken down and all that stuff, I decided to just take a little stroll along the beach there and see what I could pick up. It was a beautiful afternoon down at Grenada's. Beautiful afternoon. And as you will see in this video here, see that? You can see that we're still looking through a fence, okay? And yeah, beautiful looking condo or apartment, whichever it is. And there's a little pool. I'm not sure you can see that pool. Actually, it's a pretty darn big pool out there. And something that Kellyanne said to me, she said, George, they have done a really beautiful job with that property, notwithstanding all the issues surrounding the environment and the encroachment on the beach and all that. They have done a beautiful job with the property. And let me show you another pool area. Oops, yeah, there we go. Take a look. Now this is walking along the beach. There's the fence. There's the fence. In a little while, I'm gonna get a little bit closer, and there's a pool, big pool, and there's even a bigger one than that. I understand. We're gonna try and look over the fence just a wee bit. Okay. Now there's your pool. Ain't that nice? Ain't that nice? Take a look. Take a look. Take a look. And yes, the property is a beautiful looking property. And, oh my gosh. Want to go for a swim? Ain't that great? Ain't that great? Okie dokie, okie dokie. There it is. There it is. That's one of several pools, actually. It's not just one. Several pools down at Silver Sands, So, because of the beauty and the finesse with which that property seems to have been constructed, I think we should salute the developers. Notwithstanding, my dear friends, all the issues, okay? Yeah. Grenadians are concerned. Okay? Now, I want to show you one more video from Grenada's. Look at this one closely and think. Here we go. Strolling Grenada's beach. Off in the distance, see a man and his little boy? Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. Quietly, look at that.
No problem.
The joy of going for an afternoon run on the beach with your son. Look at that. Now, you saw in that last video a gentleman with his son running along Grenada's beach. We as Grenadians are not blessed with great monetary wealth, but God has blessed us with gifts which many people in other parts of the world would die for. Beautiful recreational areas such as Grenada's, Quarantine Point, Camahan Park, Grenada. But now we are hearing that these things may all be a thing of the past, at least as far as you and I are concerned. We're blessed with beautiful sunsets, strolls along the beach on moonlight nights, invigorating swims down at Grenadian's, all free of charge. Yet, folks, those with whom we have entrusted the governance of our country have already sold their souls, and now they are prepared to sell ours as well. I know that many of you fear losing the precious little that we have. But thankfully, there are many Grenadians who are prepared to fight to preserve our God-given patrimony, the priceless gifts with which we have been endowed. We have taken up our arms, folks, and we will fight to the end, knowing full well that our fight is not carnal. Our fight is spiritual. God will protect and defend us. So to those of you who have abandoned your call to serve and protect the people of this nation, those of you in authority, know this. We know that the battle ahead is a tough one. But God will fight for us. Folks, in recent times there's been a little track making the rounds. It's been put together by our good friend out there in Switzerland, Chester Simon. As you look at these images, I want you to listen to these lyrics. Please.
Corruption rampant. Tell them Grenada's Department of Physical Planning is now under some scrutiny. They say that they're bringing work into the country to improve the economy. But foreign investors and coastal proprietors now buying up the best property, allegedly making it hard for the locals to access the beach or the sea. The beaches are for everyone, and we welcome you here in the sun. The beaches are for everyone, and we hope you will have plenty fun. But you must understand, every small grain of sand in this beautiful land is in real high demand. So the beaches are for everyone. Yeah, the beaches are for everyone. A national survey showed 86% of Grenada's population were deeply opposed to the Riviera project, which some saw as exploitation. We say the Cameroon Park Committee was formed to ensure the park's preservation and protect Grand Anne's Beach from private development, saving it for the nation. The beaches are for everyone, and we welcome you here in the sun. Yes, the beaches are for everyone, and we hope you will have plenty fun. But you must understand, every small are for everyone. Yes, the beaches are for everyone. Have big business interests become more important than honoring poor people's rights? The freedom to roam in the land they call home, on beaches and some greenbelt sites. I smell something funny, it must be the money that flows down from Cinnamon Heights. We cannot allow them to steal Cameroon Park. They're ready to sell our birthrights. The beaches are for everyone, and we welcome you here in the sun. Yes, the beaches are for everyone, and we hope you will have plenty fun. But you must understand, every small grain of sand in this beautiful land is in real high demand. So the beaches are for everyone. Yes, the beaches are for everyone. Barbados and Jamaica are facing the same thing, as Gabby has already told. The beautiful beaches which used to be public are now being bartered and sold. The Caribbean region is now open season as we watch this drama unfold. They use every trick in the book that they can to turn base metal into gold. The beaches are for everyone, and we welcome you here in the sun. Yes, the beaches are for everyone, and we hope you will have plenty fun. But you must understand, every small grain of sand in this beautiful land is in real high demand. So the beaches are for everyone. Yes, the beaches are for everyone.
Yeah. Yes, sirree. The beaches are for everyone. Let me take a moment here and say thank you, Chester. Thank you for your contribution. By the way, you notice that they've actually not done a video for that track, but that's the reason why I just chose to throw in that sort of B-roll, if you will, that video over the soundtrack there. Okay, my dear friends, we have had a super long edition of The Buzz this morning, and right now I think we better take another little break here. Scroll down on the old iPad there, and we're going to take a break and come on back and get started with our editorials. When last did I start editorials? At 10 o'clock. It's actually 9 minutes after 10 o'clock. So, here goes.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Coop Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food Fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at Food Fair.
Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Grenada Market has now introduced the prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Alrighty, folks, it's local time here, 11 and a half minutes after 10 o'clock. I see here that on Facebook we've now been joined by Denny Phillip. Hello there, Denny. And Nesta Aberdeen says, good morning, George and all. Wishing a happy and blessed Sunday from a bright, sunny, and warm Switzerland. The summer doesn't want to end, but autumn can't wait. No complaining. Good for you, Ness. Say hi to the kids for me. Okay, time now to go editorial. The editorial, which appeared in this past week's edition of Grenada Advocate, is captioned, Mosquitoes, the Dreaded Pests. Of all the disease-transmitting animals in the world, mosquitoes are among the most menacing. That is because of their ability to carry and quickly spread diseases to humans, causing illness and death. Diseases. Mosquito-borne diseases are caused by bacteria are caused by bacteria, viruses, or parasites transmitted by mosquitoes without the mosquito itself being affected by the disease. Over the years, more and more countries have been reporting outbreaks of many mosquito-borne illnesses such as chikungunya, Zika, and dengue, which are all spread by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. The World Health Organization, in fact, reported that nearly 700 million people suffer from diseases spread by mosquitoes, resulting in over 1 million deaths annually. The WHO also lists dengue as the world's most important mosquito-borne virus, with over 20 million cases a year in more than 100 countries. In the Caribbean, as in most tropical climates, especially in the rainy season, we know only too well the dangers of these little creatures and the pain and agony they can inflict on unsuspecting victims. For years, the dreaded dengue fever, or break-bone fever, has wreaked havoc throughout the region. In more recent years, chikungunya has earned its spot in the list of dreaded diseases caused by these little pests. Without sufficient vector control, viruses such as these have evolved rapidly over time posing challenges to both government and public health officials. Preventative measures. While it was reported that last year a decline in dengue and chikungunya cases over the previous year, it is not time to rest on our laurels, as these illnesses are very much alive and still affecting our citizens. Community outreach and education programs play an integral role in identifying and, to some extent, addressing the social or economic and cultural issues that can hinder preventative measures. However, we must all play our part if we are to tackle this problem effectively. There are a number of methods that an individual can use to protect themselves from mosquito bites. This includes spraying of insecticides indoors and limiting one's exposure to mosquitoes by wearing light-colored long sleeves and long pants. Households should also practice or place screens on windows and doors, and persons in anticipation of mosquito contact should spray themselves with an insect repellent containing DEET. In addition, householders and property owners should be reminded not to breed mosquitoes on their premises. With this in mind, households should remember to cover all water receptacles, both indoors and outdoors, including water storage tanks used for irrigation and other purposes. Debris and tires should be removed, and drains and gutters should be cleared. Grenadians, please continue to act responsibly and destroy environments where mosquitoes breed, and step up your vigilance and cleanup efforts to eradicate this dangerous pest from our environment.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
GRENADABROADCAST Community Partnership Initiative.
We're here in sincere appreciation to Grenadian as a utility corporation for the donation of that rooftop solar generating plant. It would reduce our monthly bill. On behalf of the Hillsview Home residents and the wider community here at Gove, to just thank Grenadian most sincerely for that thoughtful donation.
GRENADABROADCAST, energizing our community.
Grenada Market has now introduced the prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zebrapick, Nutmeg, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Okay, folks, there's a little note here before I move on to the next editorial. There's a note here on Facebook from Margaret Fletcher. And she's asking the question, and the video just shown, are those tire marks in the sand? Margaret, I don't remember whether or not I saw tire marks yesterday. Quite possibly, okay. But I can tell you that a couple of weeks ago when I went down there to get some footage, I did see vehicles on the beach, literally on the beach. And those were construction vehicles, but again, I'm not an expert, but you're building a hotel. I'm sure that you have to have construction vehicles moving around the place. And yeah, it did concern me because we're not talking little minibuses here. We're talking tanks. Okay? Anyhow, folks, let's move on with our next editorial. And my dear friends, the editorial which appeared in last week's edition of the Grenadian Voice is captioned, Respect the Mentally Ill. In a recent sitting of the House of Representatives, Honorable Delma Thomas, Minister for Social Development, Housing and Community Development, expressed disgust over the disrespect for a young lady who was behaving strangely in public as a result of a nervous breakdown. The young lady was caught on camera by someone who posted it on the internet. Minister Thomas said that the person who filmed the woman was in a most vulnerable situation and posted it on the internet, committed a crime and must answer to a charge. She said that person failed the young lady by not finding assistance to quickly get her off the streets. As a result of the posting, the woman was made a laughingstock. The situation most likely touched the minister's heart, since she publicly revealed that there is someone closely associated to her who sometimes gets a nervous breakdown. The feedback to the minister's comments provoked different reactions. There are those who felt that the minister did not comment when string beans and others suffering from alcoholic addictions and drug addictions were caught on camera. She was viewed as entertainment when someone posted string beans dancing in the streets of St. George's, or Sobeys putting his life in danger by climbing tall buildings and electric poles. Should a mentally ill patient's position in the status system affect how he or she is treated for the illness? While drifters are taken for granted in our towns and villages, there is a teenage girl on the streets of St. George who begs daily and appears to be under the influence of some kind of substance. She is seen in Grandance at times and in St. George's. While she is still alive, can there be some kind of intervention to get help for her? It's unfortunate that our mental hospital is not equipped for children with mental disorders where they can get specialized treatment. Embedded in our culture is the habit of taking serious things as entertainment. There are those who laugh over the strange antics of some who are mentally ill or under the influence of too much alcohol. However, it may be the very system under which we live that encourages this attitude among so many of our citizens. The patients at the Mount Gay Psychiatric Hospital are sometimes referred to as inmates and used for entertainment purposes during the carnival season in a live show. In the past, they were used in sports, in Tantine, much to the enjoyment of the public who viewed them as comedy. A visit by Minister Thomas to the Mount Gay Psychiatric Hospital is in order, as is an investigation into the main ward for male patients. Such an investigation could reveal some stark realities. Why are some patients made to sleep on the concrete floor if they were not lucky enough to grab an old piece of foam at night? Is there a camera to monitor patients locked away from the public so as to stop a fierce fight before it's too late? Some patients may even show the minister the marks on their backs left as a result of beatings. This newspaper recalls when there was an issue with two hoarders creating a situation near the Silver Sands project at Grandance. They were collecting and storing garbage on a daily basis. The Ministry of Health intervened, but sadly, the focus was on the area rather than the men who obviously needed medical and psychiatric attention. The question was posed to an official at the Ministry of Health as to what were the ministry's plans to get help for the men. The response indicated that the focus was on getting the men to stop putting the garbage near the project. Research has shown that there is a close relationship between sanity and the ecological structure of an area. Mental illness can start with family relationships during childhood and continue with community pressure. It is manifested in depression, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, eating disorders, and addictive behaviors. We are aware that the entire population has free access to essential psychotropic medicines, since many people have mental health concerns from time to time. It is certainly a good idea that someone who is part of the decision-making process in this country is taking a deep look at the situation. Something good should come out of the sad situation where, according to the minister, the young lady was taken advantage of. That's the editorial, which appeared in the Grenadian Voice. Alrighty, folks, just before the break, let me pay another visit to Facebook. Rosalind Noel is watching, and Yvonne Joseph. Where are our grape trees? So no more shades for the citizens to enjoy? She's referring to that video we showed that was taken only yesterday down at the Silver Sand site. And Judy Lewis Joseph has just chimed in saying good morning. Just joined in from Guave. Nice to see you. And let's see here. Tessa on the shout box is saying, George, a visit to the site of the old Carlton home is also in order. What facilities do we have for substance abuse? We will arise. On the chat box also says, totally agree, as it is time we accept responsibility and treat each other with respect. Okie dokie, I think that's it for the time being. Folks, let's take another break, and we'll come back with our final editorial after this.
Conveniently located in the Grenadian Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store. Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenadians will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
After a hurricane, exercise caution as you may still be in danger. Be alert and keep listening to the media for official instructions. Assume all wires are energized and stay away from them. Avoid water that is in contact with poles and lines. Report all emergencies and outages by calling GRENLEC at 237. If your home or business sustains damage and you are safely able to get to the main switch, turn off the power immediately. Get a licensed electrician to check your home for damage before restoring the power. GRENLEC will ensure that island-wide power is safely restored within the shortest possible time, with essential services restored first. For more information, please visit us at www.grenlec.com.
GRENLEC, energizing our Grenada.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Alrighty, folks, here we go. It's 25 and a half minutes away from 11 o'clock, and my first guest has arrived. Claudette Joseph is in the house, and we'll be talking with her and hopefully the Black Wizard in just a wee bit. So I certainly hope you'll hang on for that, because it's a very interesting conversation coming your way this morning. Now, here comes our final editorial from the New Today. The The editorial which appears in this past week's edition of the New Today is captioned, "Bring in Scotland Yard." As the information continues to come out about the Marketing and National Importing Board, the New Today is more and more convinced that the Integrity Commission is not the most appropriate body to investigate alleged corruption and wrongdoing at this point at this important state enterprise. There is now evidence emerging that 2 fires at the River Road Depot of the MNIB about 7 months ago were deliberate acts of arson, and that criminal elements are being sought by the police as the possible culprits. This is an investigation that should be put in the hands of an agency that focuses on fighting crimes and not the politically tainted Integrity Commission of Ananda Trotman Joseph. This newspaper is calling on the Keith Mitchell-led New National Party government to invite Scotland Yard to come in and take charge of this investigation into the MNIB to get at those who were allegedly engaged in the acts of arson, as well as those who are in the spotlight for the misuse and misappropriation of the funds of the state-owned body. The word in some quarters is that the real intention of the government is to mount an investigation to get at 2 persons, especially a former ambassador who is now out of favor with the regime. It is therefore very critical that a more independent body like Scotland Yard be called in to look at the MNIB affair and present a report in which the Director of Public Prosecutions can then be given a free hand to press charges against anyone who is found culpable. Scotland Yard, and not the Integrity Commission, should be put in full charge of the criminal investigation that is needed to be done in an independent manner to get to the bottom of the alleged wrongdoing. Scotland Yard has the skilled personnel and resources for the job, unlike the Integrity Commission, which is trying to take on a task that is way beyond its ability and competence. Why would Mr. Robert Robinson, the head of the investigating group, given his age, want to take on something so huge, given the information now surfacing, and especially in an area where he is not known to have any of the specialized skills for the job at hand? This is not a labor relations issue, Mr. Robinson, but a serious criminal investigation into wrongdoing, including arson, in a very important state body. The job at hand has to be done by people who have years of training to fight against the criminal elements who are out there and should not be allowed to escape the full force of the law for trying to burn and destroy documents at the MNIB depot at River Road. It is noted that the local police force had to look for outside assistance in solving the 2 MNIB fires, which took place within 6 days earlier in the year. If they could not solve the crime on their own, can we expect them to play any meaningful role in the wider investigation that the Integrity Commission is trying to do with the MNIB? The Royal Grenada Police Force has also been dead silent and withholding information from the people of the Tri-Island state of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique on the outcome of their investigation into the MNIB fire. Credible information has reached us that a fire expert from neighboring Trinidad and Tobago, who was brought in to help with the investigation, concluded that the fire was deliberately set. Why is the police force not disclosing this to the public? Why the hush-up and secrecy? Is someone muzzling the lawmen and putting a squeeze on them to keep the information away from the public with respect to the MNIB fire? Another piece of the puzzle is the rationale behind what appears to be the failure on the part of the investigators to interview a senior police officer who was known to be in the vicinity of the River Road Depot moments before the fire broke out. It is our understanding that the officer saw something, and yet no one saw it fit and proper to solicit the information from him. Why? As Minister of National Security, did the Commissioner of Police brief Prime Minister Keith Mitchell on the findings of the foreign expert on the MNIB fires? If so, why the leader of the country did not inform the people of Grenada that the trail was leading to arson? Prime Minister Mitchell, who is the line minister for the MNIB, has nothing to hide, then he should not be afraid to face up to a questioning session from Scotland Yard on all that he knew about the MNIB, when he knew it, and what he did about the information put at his disposal prior to the breaking of the MNIB financial scandal by the New Today. This newspaper is confident that PM Mitchell will be singing a quite different song before a proper independent investigation on what he told the press a few weeks ago as the MNIB fiasco unfolded. Would Minister Oliver Joseph speak the truth before such a body on what he did with the information that was provided to him by former MNIB board chairman Samuel Andrew about the handling of MNIB finances by former Chief Executive Officer Rule Edwards? Did Mr. Joseph brief the Prime Minister on the MNIB affair when he was being relieved of his position as line minister? The New Today holds strongly to the position that the Anande Trotman-led Integrity Commission is not a competent body enough to undertake the kind of investigation that is needed to be done on the MNIB fiasco, and that it is time for Scotland Yard to be called in to take charge.
So babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply departments and Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
GRENADA Community Partnership Initiative.
We're here in sincere appreciation to Grenada Utility Corporation for the donation of that rooftop solar generating plant. It would reduce our monthly bill. On behalf of the Hillsview Home residents and the wider community here at Gove, to just thank Grenada most sincerely for that thoughtful donation.
GRENADA, energizing our community.
Hey, Claudette Joseph, good morning to you, my friend.
How are you? How are you? How are you?
Good morning, George. How are you doing?
So far, so good. Nice to see you on this Sunday morning.
Good to see you too, and good morning to all of your listeners.
This morning, when I came into the studio, it was nice and bright outside. Is it still out there when you came?
It is. It is
bright?
nice and bright outside.
So you're going to beach this afternoon?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Hey, Claudette. The countdown is approaching, girl. November 6th. You were very, very active and very vocal when we just in the run up to the last referendum. Do you intend to be the same this time around?
Not really.
No.
I am active and indeed vocal. I have been speaking at different educational sessions, but I must confess, not as active and vocal as on the last occasion.
Okay.
Because on the last occasion, I felt deep within my heart that the people of Grenada were really taken for a ride, and that our Supreme Law, the Constitution, rather than being genuinely reformed, was essentially just being tampered with. And in some instances, in such a way as would have weakened our democracy if some of those bills had carried. And of course, there was a big issue with the process, especially given that it was the first time since our independence that we were actually getting to go to a referendum. And I thought the process was fatally flawed. This occasion is different. I don't think, I mean, one can never have a foolproof or perfect process. So I'm not saying that the process was this time perfect. In fact, it wasn't. But I think it was far less flawed than on the last occasion. So I don't think there was need really to be as not just vocal but as aggressively vocal as on the last occasion. The other thing, George, is that on this occasion there's a single issue going to referendum, and that makes it a lot less contentious. I happen to be one of those persons who I am in favor of the CCJ. I am in favor of Grenada acceding to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ. I think ultimately as a region, that is where we will end up. For many years now, the Privy Council has indicated that it is time for us to start putting things in place to have our own locally based final court of appeal. There are those men in the senior positions in the court in England and in the Parliament who have in the past expressed that as far as they are concerned, the countries that continue to linger in the Privy Council are basically a burden on the taxpayers of England. So I think ultimately that is where we will end up. I suspect, unfortunately, that we perhaps wouldn't get the vote that we need on this occasion because, again, the manner in which things are proceeded with. Now, there are all the good reasons.
We may not get the vote, meaning you're talking about a yes vote or a no vote?
A yes vote.
Okay, so the thing may not go through.
I don't think it will.
Okay.
I don't think it will, George, and I will explain myself. There are a number of reasons why I don't think it will. First of all, the CCJ was one of the issues on the ballot in 2016. It is now being put to us. That was less than 2 years ago, just about 2 years ago. And there appears to be a rush. Now, I know that I don't want to sound as though I'm contradicting myself, right? I am saying that, look, we will ultimately have to accede to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ and embrace that court as our final court of appeal. We should not delay or linger too long or much longer at the Privy Council. However, we have sufficient time to make the move and to do it properly. If we are to delink from the Privy Council by the British saying to us it's time to go, they will not say, today you must go next month. There will be a period of transition, there will be a time, just as how they have to move out of Brexit and they have the 2-year period under the European Union agreement, and so there will be a reasonable time given. I say that to say that the haste with which this process is proceeding, to the point where certain key concerns are ignored, is inexplicable to me. I haven't yet heard of a good reason why there appears to be such a mad rush to November 6th, especially considering that the people of Grenada were asked the same question 2 years ago and they said no. I think we should proceed with far more caution than we have seen so far. There are a number of factors that would mitigate against the referendum succeeding, and I do not think the powers that be, including the government and the CCJ Advisory Committee, are taking those matters seriously enough and are treating with them with the seriousness that they deserve. And I think that is why the effort won't succeed this time.
You know, I want to follow up on stuff you're saying, but let me also bring Elwin in here. Mr. Black Wizard? Mr. Black Wizard?
Hello, morning.
How are you, sir?
Not too bad.
Not too bad, not too bad. Not too good either, eh? Elwin, good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us this morning. Claudette is here with me, and I think...
Is my mic on? I'm not hearing. Is he on?
You're not going to be hearing anything there, Claudette, hang on just a sec. Hang on just a sec. Elwin says he is not hearing very clearly, and we're in a bit of a bind here. Oh yes, George. Oh yes, George. Oh yes, George. Here we go again. Here we go again. Hang on a sec, Claudette, and we're also going to try and make sure that we get Elwin on, if at all possible. I am hearing him loud and clear. Are you hearing me now, Claudette?
I'm hearing you.
You're hearing us, okay. But let's now try and make sure that we get Elwin on as well. Elwin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
A little better.
Oh. Okay.
You're hearing me, Bizette?
Are you hearing Claudette?
Not clearly.
How about now?
Clear enough to say good morning?
Nah. He's obviously not hearing Claudette. Yes, Lord. Thank you very much. I'll tell you what. I want Claudette to go ahead with what she was saying a little while ago, but let me just raise this point first of all. The people, like you, there are a lot of people out there who support moving to the CCJ, but they have a lot of concerns. Okay? Now, let me ask you this. The proponents of the CCJ are saying that, you know, some of these arguments you people are raising are just totally unreasonable. You want us to fix this and want us to fix that and fix the other before we move to CCJ, but these issues are irrelevant. What say you, Claudette?
Well, what issues are they saying are irrelevant? Because what I hear people say, I consider to be relevant in the main. First of all, people are expressing concern, and I think that will be the fatal blow for the CCJ, for this effort. People are expressing concern that despite what the proponents are saying, And let me just back up a bit. The CCJ Advisory Committee, I think, again, the title is a misnomer because they are not advisory. They are simply a campaign committee, a yes campaign committee. That's what they are in fact, and I don't think any of them will disagree with me in that regard. And I say them because I'll just let the public know that the NDC did nominate me to be their representative on the CCJ Advisory Committee. And once I realized about 2 or 3 meetings in, that look, this is not really an advisory committee that will engage in balanced, objective education, I felt very uncomfortable continuing to be part of an unadulterated yes campaign, because I think the people of Grenada deserve more than that. So I removed myself very early from the committee because I didn't think the committee was doing what it should do. Now, the advantages of moving to the CCJ, they are well known, they are well articulated, they are varied. Some, I would say, are exaggerated. Some, I would say, are being expressed in not as forthright terms as it should be, and I will explain myself later, in relation to, particularly in relation to costs, the comparison between costs for the Privy Council and the CCJ, and access. Those two in particular, I don't think the proponents are being entirely forthright with the people of Grenada. All of the other reasons, they're well known, so I don't need to repeat them. Dr. Alexis and Ruggles and so, they come on very often.
They've been doing a wonderful job, yeah.
Yeah, and they repeat them.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Because we're having difficulty with Black Wizard this morning, Elwin McQuilkin, why don't we let me have a little chat with him. And then after he takes off, you and I can carry on because we still have, an hour or so to go, okay? Wizard!
Hello.
Yes, sir. You know, you recently released a track sort of touting the CCJ, and I think it took a lot of people by surprise based on what I had been hearing out there on the street. When did you decide to make that change?
What change?
Well,
what change?
Were you, okay, have you always been a supporter? That's the way I should have begun this question. Have you always been a supporter of Grenada acceding to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ?
I guess if you have been listening to Calpysonian over the years, you know the kind of person I am.
Now, could you give us a...
so I've been ready for that for 44 years now.
Pardon me?
Let's put it this way. We are an independent country, has 3 fundamental arms, and for 44 years we only had 2. So I mean, it's not sure that we go to the other one. We should have done that 44 years ago, like Dominica did.
We should have gone?
I mean, I say we should have had the 3 arms of state since 1974. So I mean, I guess there are procedural problems and problems with the process and all that. That is a different thing. But in terms of my own ideological position, I mean, we should have gone that way since 1974.
Okay. All right. And do you, as an independent, free-thinking Grenadian, yes, you have now come out and advocated that we should all move to the appellate jurisdiction. At the same time, you're hearing a lot of people around you in the state raising concerns. I get the feeling that the majority of people in this country, and I have not done a survey, but I get the feeling that the majority of people support going to the appellate jurisdiction, but they're raising concerns. Do you have any at this 11th hour?
Say again, I didn't get the last couple of words. Any what?
Do you have any concerns? You know, there are people who say, yes, let's go to the appellate jurisdiction. Let's go, let's go, let's go. But they have concerns. At this last minute, you know, the referendum is on the 6th of November. Do you have any concerns?
Well, obviously, if people are not educated enough on something, they will have concerns. So I think the problem is lack of education, the whole thing. But so they need to have done some more work among the people, and you know, so I guess that's one reason for the college shows that to help to motivate people or to educate people. But I would agree that people need to be more informed and more educated on the whole thing.
But Elwin, I mean, come on. A couple of my good friends, Dr. Alexis and Ruggles, I mean, these guys have been working, not just now, these guys have been working since 2016. They have been hammering this in. What more can they do?
I really not hearing it, you know. I really not hearing it.
No, the point I was making.
I didn't get the question.
Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, but I'm hearing it, but not clearly. Go ahead.
Okay. I am saying to you, Elwin, that folks like Dr. Alexis and Ruggles Ferguson, they didn't just start with this particular referendum. They have been hammering this at us since 2016. They have been working their buns off, trying at least to educate the people. What more can they be doing?
What more can they do?
What more can they do? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I thought they should have come into the villages and so, I mean, and as a matter of fact, you don't have to use only the people from the advisory committee of the CCG to educate people. You could have people, even in the community, you train people in the community to reach out to other people, you know, because I'm sure I could do a good job with some little training here and there. I could do a good job. I mean, in terms of, I could hold a forum on the CCG. I feel I could do that. So there are other people in other communities who could do it. But at the same time, well, time may be a factor too. I mean, if you had more time, then you could educate people better. So reaching out to people, and I think it's disadvantageous. So I don't understand, because I think it's disadvantageous to the committee. I don't think they have any. It would be advantageous to them that they didn't give more time or educate people more. You know, so I believe because as I rightly say, everybody I was in West all day night, and everybody, in principle, support the CCG.
Yeah.
So the victory could be assured, but you have to make sure that you look at the concerns of the people. Yeah. And then victory will be assured.
Yeah. So you're feeling that they needed more personal, you know, like a one-on-one approach. Get out into the community, you know, rather than just the media. Is that what you're advocating?
I didn't get that question.
I am asking you if you're saying that those who are promoting the CCJ, perhaps they should have done more of a one-on-one approach, getting out into the community and speaking with the people, rather than focusing as much as they have on using the media. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't hear it very well. Since you're done. I think, as I said, I believe in people being informed and educated on any matter, as a matter of fact. You know, so at the end of the day, we need to educate people properly on whatever we're doing. I mean, and it should not just be for the CCG, but generally a lot of things in Grenada, we don't educate people enough on them, and we expect them to respond.
Yeah.
You know, so generally speaking, education and information is always important. You know, so it's always important. Any subject matter, anything the government does is supposed to keep the people informed and educate the people. So education, you can't go wrong with education. So that's the answer I'll give based on what I think I understand from the question.
Yeah. All right, Elwin. Congratulations. I see that you are doing your part towards helping with the education process by coming out with a calypso. Are you going to come out with another one before the referendum?
I didn't get a question again.
Yeah, we're having a tough time with him this morning.
We really have a bad line.
Yeah, we have a bad line. Okay, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Elwin.
You're welcome.
Okay, man. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Okay, I was trying to find out from him, whether or not he would probably come out with another track, because it's, he obviously he feels strongly.
Yeah, well, I think Wizard and I are saying the same thing. As he said, as far as he's concerned, when we got our independence in 1974, from the get-go, we should have had our own final court of appeal, because independence means independence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, he's saying pretty much what a lot of us are saying. We are not in principle opposed to the CCG. I mean, as self-respecting Caribbean people, I don't think anybody would seriously oppose or be against a move from the Privy Council to the CCJ, which is why I think for all the work the main advocates of the Yes campaign are doing, I think they are misplacing some of their energies by attacking the Privy Council, by speaking to, making a comparison between intellect, saying the judges in the Caribbean are just as bright as the judges in the UK. All of those, to me, are trivial arguments that will take the thing not very far, because we know that we in the Caribbean, we don't have any intellectual inferiority complex, right? So we don't need anybody to tell us that the judges of the UK courts are not are not brighter than us. We don't need anybody to say that to us. We don't need the embellishments in relation to what it would really cost to go to the Privy Council vis-a-vis the CCG. We really don't need that. What I think you asked Wizard, what are some of the things the proponents should be doing that they're not doing? One of the main things I think they should be doing that they are not doing is being very honest and frontal with people when they raise concerns about the potential for political interference, for example. To suggest that there could be or would be no political interference in the court is quite frankly to me not being straight up with the people. All right? I think a more attractive response to the ordinary people would be to say, but of course, this is something we cannot or will not be able to in any complete way guard and mitigate against, because politicians, and particularly the brand of politicians that we have in some of our Caribbean islands, are such that they will try. They will try to intervene. And let me
can't help it, eh?
Yeah?
Can't help it.
They can't help it. So to say that they can't be is you're not selling the thing to the people when you say that they can't be. Because let me give you a quote here from our current Chief Justice of the Eastern Caribbean, our Court of Appeal, Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeal, our own Chief Justice of the Court of Appeal, when she addressed the region on 20th September 2016, on the occasion of the opening of the new law here, she said the following, and I am quoting from her speech. She said, attempts, let me repeat, attempts at judicial interference are on the rise. These attempts emanate from places and persons and by methods which you would least expect. This is Chief Justice Janice Pereira speaking in September 2016. So for anybody to suggest that there won't be attempts, at least, at political interference, and some of these attempts may succeed, right? It's not very honest. So to my mind, because that's the main issue I hear people are concerned about when I go to the different fora and people speak, and so the main thing that comes through is the concern that the court may not be sufficiently insulated from political interference. And we know, based on what the Chief Justice is saying to us, that the politicians will try to interfere. Now, what I think would be a more...
I guess she's not in very good favor with our politicians.
With some of them, no. Now, here's, I think, what a more honest answer should be. Yes, you will have attempts at political interference. But first of all, most judges will not tolerate it. And here you have an example of a Chief Justice who, by calling them out, outing the politicians, she is showing that she has no tolerance for that. She will not entertain it. She is exposing them here by saying, look, they're trying to interfere. Right? Also, by explaining to the people that as far as is possible, the CCJ agreement, the way the structure is set up, the incidents of political interference, of interference where the judges will feel cornered or compelled to succumb to political pressure, have been, as much as possible, minimized by the way the CCJ agreement is set up. To me, that's what I think would be an honest answer. First of all, the CCJ agreement sets up, in terms of financial arrangements, the trust fund is set up. And that the funds are independently managed, not managed by the politicians. But what the agreement also does is that it retains for the politicians the final say in what salaries and allowances and so the judges will ultimately get. So it sets up the trust fund, but the politicians, as we say, George, they can't help themselves. So they still retain that little power to have a say in what the judges are paid. But there is also a provision in the agreement that says that the salaries and so of the judges should not be adjusted to their disadvantage. Right? So, whereas a few years ago we had, at least on 2 occasions that I can recall, in Grenada right here, where judges fell on the wrong side of the government. They got on the wrong side of the government, and all of a sudden their salaries start appearing late in their account at the bank. Repairs that were needed at their residence were not done. I mean, I can speak to Justice Brian Aline. He went through that kind of thing, and Justice Davidson Batiste, right? And it was felt that these judges were being punished for upsetting the powers that be by the judgments they were delivering. I heard one judge in St. Lucia also complain about a similar experience. Now, these are the realities of our lives in the Caribbean. The CCJ agreement mitigates against that in large measure, I will say, because the funds are not managed by the politicians. Once the politicians have their say in signing off on the salaries and allowances and so, the actual payment, remittance of these salaries and allowances are not in the hands of the politician. So that likelihood of intimidating and pressuring a judge politically is significantly reduced. All right. So I think then also there's the mode of appointment. All right. Apart from the president of the court, that the heads must approve, the other judges of the court are appointed by a Judicial and Legal Services Commission, whose members are largely not political people. We're not saying that they cannot be influenced by the politicians. We're saying that they are not political people on the face of it. So I think by getting defensive and telling people, oh, there could be no interference whatsoever, whatnot, people are not buying that, George. People are not buying that. We have to accept that there will be attempts at political interference in our judiciary, but that we think that the CCJ agreement, it may not be foolproof, but it attempts to mitigate against the occurrence of those kind of things. The other thing is that there are people raising concerns about the bill itself. George, we have a constitution. We like to say that the British handed us a constitution and we didn't have a say in it. Now, while that is in fact not entirely true, because during the last exercise, some of us explained, we did some thorough research, and we explained that while the document didn't go to the people, the masses, for a vote on it, there was local input. Because there were two teams, one opposition, one government, both comprising about 6 to 8 people, who went up to the UK and got intimately involved in the drafting of the Constitution. Now, in the 44, almost 45 years that we've had our Constitution, I don't know of any instance in which our courts have been asked to clarify any aspect of the Constitution. We have a document that is simple, it is clear. As far as constitutional instruments go, it is nearly perfect. Here we have an attempt to add matters, to add stuff to our Constitution. And in my view, the bill that we will be asked to vote on November 6th is not ready to be inserted in our supreme law. There is a lot of tidying up that can take place. Hence, the reason why I say I don't see the rush. I could tell you here and now, George, as a member of the legal profession who have gone through the bill in some detail, while I am pro CCJ, I will not be voting yes for that bill as is, because I do not think it is of the quality sufficient to be inserted in my supreme law. So I'm not going to support the bill as is. Now, one of the first things that struck me in going through the bill is that presently our Constitution provides for people having a right of appeal. It gives you that right to appeal to the Privy Council if you are dissatisfied with a decision of the Court of Appeal and the value of your case is $1,500 or more. So let me try to put that in simple language. If you have a piece of land and that piece of land is valued at $2,000 and you and your neighbor have a dispute over that piece of land, and you go to the High Court and you lose, you go to the Court of Appeal and you lose, our law presently says that notwithstanding that that piece of land is only $2,000 in value, you have a right of appeal to the Privy Council. the bill attempts to retain that provision of our Constitution, but at the same time, it entrenches or includes or enshrines the agreement establishing the Caribbean Court of Justice in our Constitution. The agreement itself says that for you to go to the CCJ in relation to that piece of land, it must be valued at $25,000 or more. So the CCJ agreement puts the minimum value on a claim at $25,000. Our Constitution says $1,500. The bill purports to retain what the Constitution says and also insert what the CCJ agreement says. When read together, if the bill carries, when read together, none of these sections will have superior weight. None will take precedence over the other. So right off the bat, starting up, you have a discrepancy in our Constitution. The bill also says that
hold on a minute. Don't move too fast away from this one, because I thought the CCJ was supposed to favor the poor person. You're puzzling me here. You come on, Claudette.
You see, that's what I talk about when I say about people not being really straight up with the thing. Not necessarily, George. Incidentally, I asked two of the members of the advisory committee, two of the senior members of the advisory committee, well, which one would take precedence, you know? Would it be that now your claim has to be valued at $25,000, or is it still 15? One said to me 25,000, the other said 15.
Members of the same committee.
Members of the same committee, senior members of the committee. So you see why I say the bill is not ready for our Constitution. Now, if it is that the provision in the CCJ agreement prevails, then you see what happening with poor people. You see what happening with poor people. So this notion that, oh, this thing is for the poor and blah, blah, blah.
That's been a constant refrain.
That is not necessarily so. If you want to make it for the poor, go and fix that bill so that there is no ambiguity, because right now, our law, in our Constitution, there is no ambiguity. If your claim is valued at $1,500 or more, you have a right of appeal to the Privy Council. That's a right. You could get a lawyer in England to do it for you for free. You could get your local lawyer to go up and do it. You could do it in person. You could actually appear before the Privy Council in person, right? So this is a right. Now, this is an issue that appears in the bill that has been flagged and pointed out by members of the committee, that they are so bent on sticking with the November 6th date that they are refusing to acknowledge. The other thing is that we have section 103 of our Constitution right now, right? That section gives Grenadians, all of us, a right of appeal from the High Court to the Court of Appeal against any final decision in any civil or criminal matter. So once the decision of the High Court is a final one and you are dissatisfied with it, as a litigant, you have a right of appeal to go to the Court of Appeal. That's what section 103 says. And then section 104 deals with the right of appeal to the Privy Council. It tells you in which instances you have a right of appeal and which ones you would need special leave to appeal. Now, the bill, let me find my bill. The bill proposes to insert a new section 104A, which when read appears to contradict section 103 of the Constitution. As a matter of fact, not 104A, 104B. Section 104B, the new section 104B that is proposed by the bill, appears to contradict section 103 of the Constitution. In that, it says no appeal shall lie or shall be brought from or in respect of any decision of any court in or for Grenada to any court, tribunal, or other body whatsoever, except only to the Caribbean Court of Justice. Right? So that, the way it is worded, on its face, it appears to negate the effect of section 103. Right? To my mind, and I have discussed this with a few legal minds, again on this occasion, not many lawyers seem willing to come out and speak. They'll discuss with you in private, but for some reason, I don't know.
That's something that really baffles me and disappoints me.
I don't understand it
there
myself.
There are a few attorneys like yourself and
Bristol and Jerry and so, right.
But by and large, people
they just
aren't
don't
talking.
They're not
the Bar Association, Claudette.
Yeah. So, to my mind, this one is a simple fix. This section obviously should be made subject to section 103. But as the draft is now, it is not. So it appears to have the effect of ousting the effect of section 103. Right? These matters, I think, are matters that should be addressed. Then we also have the ambiguities as to which sections of the CCJ agreement, are deeply entrenched, are going to be deeply entrenched in the Constitution, and which sections are not. Because Jamaica, for example, they are in our position, they need a referendum. And the question as to whether or not they need a referendum was asked, I think it was 2015 or about, of the Privy Council. So they went to the Privy Council because they thought their constitution, it wasn't clear whether they needed a referendum or whether they could go with a two-thirds. So they asked the Privy Council to interpret the constitution and to tell them. Privy Council said that they needed a referendum, and in addition, the Privy Council said a few other things, including that the judges of your final court of appeal should at minimum enjoy the same constitutional protection as your judges of your court of appeal. Now, our judges, our high court judges, our DPP, our court of appeal judges, they have constitutional protection right now based on the provisions of our existing constitution. You can only remove them in certain circumstances, that kind of thing, right? Retirement age, that is entrenched, right? It seems to me from this bill that there are certain key components of the CCJ agreement dealing with the retirement ages of judges, dealing with the security of tenure, dealing with the Judicial and Legal Services Commission. It seems to me that these aspects of the CCJ agreement are not going to be given the constitutional protection that the Privy Council says they should have. In that, it appears that in some instances, going forward, whereas now you would need a referendum to change any of these things, going forward, if the bill carries, some of these aspects relating to the judges and so could be changed by the politicians on a 2/3 majority in the parliament. These are matters I think that should be looked at again and have some serious discussion and debate, and the bill could be tightened up. The other thing is the position of the Trade Union Council. They have said, they have issued a release, I'm sure you've seen it by now, George, where their position is that while in principle they support the move to the CCJ, they will not support the bill if Section 37 of our existing constitution is not made applicable to the CCJ. Section 37 of the Constitution is that section that deals with matters going to the court arising out of an election, like an election petition, the validity of an election, the validity of appointment of a senator, the validity of the appointment of a speaker, a dispute whether one person won or the other didn't win, anything arising out of an election. And the Constitution now says that the decision of the Court of Appeal in those instances will be final. So you don't have a right of appeal to go to the court, to the Privy Council, nor can you go by leave. Once the Court of Appeal decides, that's it. The rationale back then was that these matters should be retained, given that we were acquiring our independence. Matters of governance and our democracy should be dealt with to finality in our local courts. Now, the CCJ will be our local court. The CCJ is our court, Caribbean court. And so the TUC is saying that there is no justification why election matters, cases arising out of the conduct of an election or the appointment of members of parliament, should not be finally determined by the CCJ. Now, that is a very attractive argument, and the National Democratic Congress embraces that argument. And I think, honestly, I think it was an oversight that this matter wasn't inserted in the bill, because there's really no reason why it was left out. That would require an adjustment to the bill. So there are all these matters that I think still need to be addressed, so as to make the idea or make voting yes more attractive to more people.
I don't know whether or not you saw this, I think it was this past week, and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm counting on you to explain and clarify this to me. CSO put out a release this week suggesting that, I'm paraphrasing here, but we don't have the right to appeal the outcome of a general election.
Same point. That's the same point the Trade Unions Council they're making. That's the same point.
Okay.
Right. That's the same exact point. So CSO has now made the same point.
Yeah.
That, look, the bill doesn't give us a right to appeal the outcome of an election to the CCJ.
You madawa.
That is what it is. The bill does not give us a right to go to the CCJ and appeal the outcome of an election or anything to do with the appointment
Claudette,
of parliamentarians or
Claudette,
anything like that.
Do you think that people understand how far-reaching the consequences of that are? Claudette?
No, but you see, that is the issue I have with the people somehow it seems as though November 6th is a magic date that is cast in stone that cannot be changed, right? The other issue is in relation to the National Democratic Congress. The National Democratic Congress has said plainly, publicly, and privately to the government that in principle we do not oppose the CCJ, but this is going to be another election. A referendum is an election. It is going to be conducted by your same electoral officials.
Same mechanism.
Serious, same mechanism, everything. And the NDC has said to them in private and in public, we want all of us to work together in a bipartisan mode to, while we go to the CCJ, fix our electoral problems. They are well documented. They are contained in the observer mission reports of the CARICOM
and the OAS.
We know what they are. We cannot, as a responsible organization, encourage our supporters to support a bill under a system that they honestly believe is flawed and resulted in them losing at least a few seats only a few months ago. So we have said, look, we got to fix the electoral system because it's the same personnel, same system, same procedures, and so you are coming to our people with and expect us to say to them, support this thing. We can't do that as a responsible political organization. That plea has been ignored so far. It has been ignored so far, and it seems that it is lost on the authorities that it is highly unlikely that a referendum will succeed without the support of the National Democratic Congress, even though we have no seats. It seems lost on, I don't know, well, it seems lost on them that it's not going to succeed.
All right, I'll tell you what, Claudette, man, this is frightening. It's really frightening, and it bothers me that I have not heard of any moves whatsoever to address forget about the concerns raised about the electoral process by the people of Grenada. Forget about that. Folks, what the heck is the sense in having observer missions from CARICOM and the OAS?
That you invite.
Come here. That you invite. They make recommendations. And you just go. That is scary stuff, folks. That scares the crap out of me. Hate to be so blunt. I call the shots like I see them. That is scary stuff. Claudette, let me take a break. We'll come back.
So babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply Departments and Food Fair Supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Grenada Market has now introduced the prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
GRENADAC Community Partnership Initiative.
What we have seen with the quality of the debate, the intellect, the effort that has gone into this is a credit, first of all, to the debaters themselves. But it's also a credit to the teachers, to our schools, to our parents who would have worked with those students to get them to where they are today. Us who sit in Parliament should be inspired by what we have seen today, and I think we can learn something from what has been presented here today.
GRENADAC, energizing our community.
Satisfaction of people who are raising them. I say in most instances they are not addressing them at all.
Yeah.
At all. Now the other is, one of the big arguments that is put forward in favor of the CCJ is the access. Now, what is not being said to the people? They said it's easier and cheaper access. What is not being said is that in order to access the CCJ, or the Privy Council for that matter, you must first have access to the High Court and to the Court of Appeal. What is our reality right now? Our reality in Grenada is that since May, so we're talking, and that's early May, so you could count in the month of May, June, July, August, September, now we're in October. So 5 months going into 6 months, our high courts have not been able to sit because we do not have a physical court building. And the efforts of the authorities, including the AG, who is one of the biggest proponents of the CCJ, have been very, very wanting in terms of finding a place for us to sit. Thankfully, as of tomorrow, we will be taking a little squeeze at the new Parliament building. Now, bear in mind our constitution sets up 3 equal and independent arms of government, the judiciary being one of them. We have now, George, a collapse in one of the arms of government. If you have a collapse in any of the arms of government, you have chaos, you have anarchy, you do not have a system that is functioning, you do not have a democracy. That any Form 3 social studies student will tell you that. And we have a system where one of the arms has virtually collapsed. So we don't have a physical space to go and deal with our cases. when we do have a physical space, it is common, it has been going on since about 2012 or thereabout, where when you finish with your matter in the High Court, you can wait up to 3 years or more to get a judgment out of the High Court, to get a judgment, because the judges do not have the requisite facilities and judicial assistance. Then you have, if you are dissatisfied and you want to appeal to the Court of Appeal, you have a right of appeal guaranteed under the Constitution, and you have a court reporting unit that is ill-staffed and ill-equipped, so that the transcript of the High Court proceedings, which the Court of Appeal must have in order to hear your appeal, you can't get at for up to 3 years. I am so sorry for those people who are on remand, who are in prison, awaiting an appeal against conviction or sentence or both. Civil cases and criminal cases are delayed between the High Court and the Court of Appeal for 3 years or more, because we do not have the facilities to produce the transcripts, right? Then you could wait, depending on how complex your matter is, you could wait another year or more before you get a decision out of the Court of Appeal. So from the time you file your action, easily 10 years could pass. Most people, 10 years could pass before you're finished in the Court of Appeal, if there's an appeal. Most people by then, whether they could afford it or not, they are exhausted and they just want to see the end of the matter, so they don't opt for the Privy Council. And if things do not change on the ground, they will not opt for the Court of Appeal. Sorry, for the CCJ. So to say that the CCJ will afford greater access to justice is really and truly a joke, George. It is a joke, because you have to access the lower courts. You can't file a case starting in the CCJ. You must file it in the High Court or in the Magistrates Court, and then go through all the processes of appeals before you get to the CCJ. So if the system down here isn't working, what are you talking about greater access? What really are you talking about with greater access? And it can't seriously be in relation to cost. Before I speak about cost, let me just backtrack a bit to say that you talk about CCJ or access to justice for the poor man. What happens right now is that if you have a matter in the Court of Appeal and you could afford a couple $1,000s to get your transcript prepared outside of Grenada, you'll get your matter in the Court of Appeal faster. So right now, access to justice is not for the poor people. I'm speaking facts. This is what is happening right now. You have to either wait years to get your transcript or pay a few $1,000s to get it prepared outside of our system. All right? Then you talk cost. Yes, it is expensive to go to the Privy Council, especially considering the exchange rates. Right? It's over 350 EC to £1, right? But it is also going to be expensive to go to the CCJ. Now, just like in the High Court, there are certain rules of court, certain rules of procedure in relation to the CCJ. And the CCJ rules, I'm reading here from Part D of Schedule 2 of the rules relating to the CCJ. And this is what it says. I don't know if Mr. Ferguson or Dr. Alexis or anybody ever quoted this for you, George. It says, fees payable to a party in an appeal from the Court of Appeal of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court of Dominica. Now, you know Dominica is part of the CCJ. So, it gives the fees payable from an appeal to the CCJ from the Dominica court. And we could take a safe bet that those would be the fees for us, because this is the Eastern Caribbean quotation, Eastern Caribbean dollars quotation. And it says, in the case of an appellant, from the notice of appeal up to and including the first day of hearing, $37,800. And then for each additional day of hearing, $3,780. And then it says, in the case of an appellant, when 2 attorneys at law appeared, most times you're going to have 2 or maybe 3 lawyers. When you reach Privy Council CCJ level, that's where you're at, a specialist lawyer, right? And maybe 2 juniors. In the case of an appellant, when 2 attorneys at law appeared, from the notice of appeal up to and including the first day of hearing, $56,700. Plus for each additional day of hearing, $7,560. Now, this is just a snapshot, George, of the kind of fees you will have to pay, not for filing, not for filing fees and disbursements, out of pocket expenses. These are the fees you will have to pay, minimum, basic, to the other side if you take a case to the CCJ and you lose. This is what you will have to pay. That is just the lawyer's fee, right? So you better budget that for yourself as well, because you will have to pay your lawyer, and if you lose, this is what the rules of the court, of the CCJ is saying, you will have to pay the other side, right? So it won't be cheap. So you're talking easily budget $120,000 if you want to go to the CCJ. Budget that, right? Which poor man have that?
It's the first time I'm hearing that figure being quoted.
Yeah, I'm reading it right here from the rules of the CCJ. Right? This came off the CCJ website. And just like in the civil courts, you have the rules of court, rules of procedure. Same thing applies in the CCJ. And this is basic, right? It could be more. That's the minimum. Because the court may order a specific sum, or the other side who would have won their case may ask for their costs to be taxed, in which case it's almost certainly is going to be more than the basic amount provided for in the rules. So if you divide 130 by 3, you're ending up with not just about £35,000 too. It comes back to the same. So added to that, when you get to the level of the apex court, the Privy Council or the CCJ, you want a specialist in the area. If you have a family matter or you have a commercial matter or insurance, you want the best lawyer in insurance or family or whatever. And that lawyer may well be in the UK. So you will still have to pay an airfare and accommodation to bring him in the opposite direction. So that's what I mean when I say it is not that some of the arguments are not being put forward in an honest and forthright way. I still think the advantages of going to the CCJ outweigh the disadvantages, but people are not buying it when you are not straight with them, because people know, they sense when you're not straight with them.
Yeah. All right, Claudette. We don't have too many Sundays left between now and the 6th of November. Just let me pull up my little calendar here. Today is the 14th, so we have the 21st, the 28th, and the 4th of November. 3 more Sundays before the referendum. And the referendum will be on the 6th, which is a Tuesday. And I'm hoping that...
Well, I hope it will be pushed back, actually.
Yeah.
I hope it won't be on the 6th.
It's not too late to do that?
No, it's not too late to push it back, no.
Okay.
Not too late.
All right.
I don't know, there's no... As far as I am aware, there is nothing in the law or the Representation of the People Act or the Referendum Act or the Constitution that says that you can't vacate the date. In fact, remember last time the date was vacated. Remember it was pushed back a month or so because there was a problem. There were some issues. Well, we have some issues again.
Yeah.
So I actually hope, because I would like to see success, but I'm not going to vote for that bill. Not the way it is.
Yeah. Okay, I'm hoping that between now and the referendum, whatever day it happens to be, we'll see you again.
Yes.
Okay. There was a comment on Facebook I saw a little while ago, which I think I should share with you. Somebody says, "Great job, Claudette. I learned a lot listening to you this morning."
Thank you.
And those are sentiments I've heard expressed before. My dear friends, this is where we're going to pull the curtain down. That's been another interesting morning. Certainly hope you were not necessarily entertained, but informed, because that's the bottom line. We're not trying to entertain you. We're trying to inform you. And I do hope that you'll join me again tomorrow morning for the next edition of Good Day Grenada. We're on every weekday morning at 9 o'clock, about an hour. And we'll be back on Thursday night with this week's edition of We Chat. And then, of course, by God's grace, next Sunday morning for the next edition of Sundays with George Grant. Let's take a little break. We'll come back.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Grenadian James Boulevard.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmed, Bourbonday, and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Alrighty, folks, this is where we are going to kiss and say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining me on this Sunday morning, the 14th day of the month. Just before we part, I want to leave some thoughts with you. Something I want you to know about God. He saves the needy from the sword in their mouth. He saves them from the clutches of the powerful. So the poor have hope, and injustice shuts its mouth. Blessed is the one whom God corrects. So do not despise the discipline of the Almighty. My dear friends, see a little note here before I go. Just showed up on the shout box, Rumble Chat. Alan says, Wizard says his ideology informs his decision to vote yes. Ideological divisions led to the massacre on October 19th. Practicality above ideology will inform my decision. So says Alan on Rumble Chat. My dear friends, once again this morning, we had a lousy time. All you need to do is take a look at Facebook, and you will see the complaints that we have had there this morning about the quality, the technical quality of the broadcast. Folks, you can complain as much as you want. Ain't gonna help unless you help me. I have been crying out, and I continue to. I'm asking humbly to go, well, actually most of you are there right now, right on the GrenadaBroadcast.com website. Go to the donate button at the top and help us. God bless you folks, and by his grace, I shall see thee again in about a week. Take care. God bless you.